My name is Unimportant, and I'll tell you why. But first, I'd like to do a little preface or disclaimer that sort of acknowledges that I am not the first to recognize this situation. I've seen it in multiple parts of our community, and while I didn't while I didn't read them, I sort of came to the same conclusion on my own based on my own experiences and observations. Uh, but I believe that I can add to the discussion on the same topic. Um, in what I would say the most controversial way possible, we are seeing the American black man going his own way and building, and essentially being vilified for doing so. The stereotype of black children never knowing their fathers is ubiquitous. I mean, think about that for a second. Look, how much more shaming could society uh, achieve creating a stereotype about black fathers abandoning their children? What what higher level of shaming language could be achieved? I don't think there is one. They have maxed out shaming language on black men. It is disgusting, not just to hear, but to contemplate the level of nefarious imagination these leftists and Marxists have developed to demonize black men. It is unbelievable. And it's because their community is now visible by both government and popular culture. The reason the government has its eye on the black culture is because black women marry the state. Sometimes black women marry the state at such high a volume that it becomes financially viable for the government to chase down biological fathers, and in worst case scenarios, non-biological fathers who avoid the tyrannical support laws and the taxes by working off the books. These black fathers do. The reason black men have been in popular culture with a prevalence that dwarfs their population demographics by ratio is because men who go their own way are wildly successful and uninhibited by women and the law. American black men understood a long time ago that courts and women did not have their best interests in mind, so they have checked out of society to an extent. They are both, well, they're currently both vilified and celebrated for their decisions in ways only men going their own way can explain thoroughly. Statisticians try to point to socioeconomic problems. Social justice warriors try to point to racism, to the point lawyers are winning suits claiming there is systemic racism. And researchers are inventing new terms like unconscious biases. Men going their own way is the only community that can openly laugh at those efforts to reclass, redefine, and paint the American black man into a corner where he can be a victim by virtue of being, in the Marxist sense. Leftists will only allow victimhood as a standalone class characteristic, with the exception of the white cisgendered male. Any other class is without agency, if you boil it all down, and therefore any ills that befall them are due to their class identity at the hands of the perceived majority or elitist, in keeping with the Marxist analogy, the proletariat versus bourgeois conceptualization. But it's interesting, women have hidden their nature in plain sight. They have attached themselves at the hip to minorities to absorb legal protections and advantages they would not otherwise have. Yet the truth is, women are the only demographic majority in those societies in which they're given freedom to protest, which is it's boggling. It's boggling to have a majority behave in such a way. The leftists, I mean, they're the only true majority in democracy. They are the only majority, and they still behave like they're some victimized minority. It's incredible. The leftists perpetually attempt to understand what has happened on the research side. They look for any excuse other than the truth. They do so by circling the drain that is female nature, never knowing or intending to discover that awful truth. To someone new to men going their own way, I would invite them to just close their eyes and envision a world in which all the best intentions of conservatives and all the best ideas of liberals were combined in free society and protected by the most powerful governments the world has ever known. Then I would ask them to open their eyes and to look around. I would announce to them, it's here. Those heartless conservatives we like to bash in memes voted in lockstep with those brainless liberals to uplift parts of society that were disenfranchised. Conservatives knew this was a small number of people that the government could help. The leftists knew that as long as they could get laws like those we know all too well on the books, they could metastasize Marxist ideology throughout society by getting classes to bind together and marry the state. Never could right-wingers have anticipated their mistake, and never could leftists have predicted their success. This unholy matrimony of goodwill toward bad ideas has given us a glimpse at society's future, and we can see day by day how it does manifest itself in the black male identity. And that is why my name is unimportant.